Today's Patriots Today is absolutely loaded. On the rundown, the latest Bill Belichick rumors, is Mike Vrabel coming, everything going on with the Patriots head coach search or firing, you could say. Should the Patriots draft a quarterback with their third pick or Marvin Harrison Jr.? And to round out today's show, the Patriots have a new GM coming into Foxborough. We'll get to all of that later on, but I want to make sure you all are subscribed and have those notifications turned on, because the Bill Belichick news could drop at any moment, whether it be his return being finalized or a mutual parting of ways. So make sure you are subscribed and turn on those notifications so you get alerted when we either go live or drop a video surrounding the latest on Bill Belichick. And speaking of Bill Belichick, it's been a little bit quiet over the past 24 hours surrounding the legendary head coach, until a little bit this morning when Albert Breer dropped a little nugget on what's going on in Foxborough. He said, with things still uncertain in New England, yesterday, Patriots coach Bill Belichick gave his coaching staff the next couple weeks off per sources. Some are still in finishing up work. They're scheduled to be back in a week from Monday. The question is, what will they return to? And then my initial thought was, are the Patriots going to wait for these coaches to finish up what they're doing, return to Foxborough, and then make a decision? Because that seems like a bad idea. And the main reason why I think it's important for New England to make a decision, whether it's bringing Belichick back, bringing him back and stripping him of the GM duties, or just mutually parting ways or looking for a trade partner, is because if you do choose the latter and move on from Belichick, you are going to need to start putting in some requests to have GM interviews, because you're going to have to get someone who actually knows that GM role, and people are starting to interview already, and I don't want the best candidates to be taken off the board so Robert Kraft can't find the best GM available. I'm looking specifically at Adam Peters. He was in the San Francisco 49ers organization. I think he's the best GM candidate alongside Ian Cunningham in Chicago. Those two are interviewing already like crazy, and I don't want New England to potentially miss out on those two guys because they're waiting a week or two to make a decision on Bill Belichick. But I will say this. I believe with 1,000% certainty that Mike Vrabel will be the next head coach of the New England Patriots if they do elect to move on from Bill Belichick. There's just too much smoke, and it makes too much sense to bring back Vrabel, an already established head coach in the National Football League who has had proven success taking, I think, mediocre Titans teams to really new heights over the past 4 years. Although the last 2 years has been rough, I still think he's a fantastic coach. And I thought this nugget from Ian Rappaport this morning was very fascinating on why the Titans ended up firing Mike Vrabel. This was an Amy Adams Strunk decision based on what Rappaport said, including what happened when he went back to New England for the Hall of Fame thing back in Week 8 when the New England Patriots beat the Buffalo Bills, including not dispelling rumors in-house that he was going to be the Patriots coach. And I think Vrabel just makes a lot of sense for New England, right? He is an excellent leader of men. He loves and bleeds the Patriots culture. Just looking back at what Rappaport said, what happened during that Hall of Fame weekend when he was getting inducted to the Patriots Ring of Honor back in Foxborough, he said at halftime during his speech that we have a game to win. And he also sat in the owner's box with the Krafts. When was the last time you have ever seen a head coach of another football team sit in an owner's box of a different organization and talk about we? He loves the New England Patriots organization. He loves the Krafts, and he would take it as a badge of honor to be the heir apparent to Bill Belichick. He won't be afraid of the tall task replacing Bill. He's a player's coach. Players love to play for him. I get there's concerns with his offensive system, but I will say this. I know it's been rough over the past couple of years, but I think it is a direct correlation that when you moved on from A.J. Brown, the Titans' offense started to go downhill. So a little bit is that to me on the personnel decisions, not Vrabel actually coaching, but he has had a really good defense in Tennessee as well. Vrabel will be able to keep that good defense in New England and hopefully bring in someone else that can elevate the offensive talent. So vote for me down below in the comment section. Do you want Mike Vrabel as the next Patriots head coach if Bill Belichick is removed from his duties? Type Y for yes, type N for no. All right, next up on the show, should the Patriots draft Marvin Harrison Jr. with the 3rd overall pick in this 2024 NFL Draft? Because the biggest question right now is QB or MHJ. To me, it's down to those two options, whether it be Jayden Daniels, Drake May, Caleb Williams, or the Ohio State wide receiver. There is going to be a tough decision to be made by whoever is making those decisions. I will say this. The Athletic dropped a new mock draft this morning, and Nick Baumgardner had this to say when mocking Marvin Harrison Jr. to the Patriots with that 3rd overall pick. A couple things here. One, Harrison is the best player in this draft, and people shouldn't complicate that. He is a game-changing asset who can make a non-star quarterback and a middling offense better immediately. And 2, this, at least for me, is still too early to take LSU quarterback Jayden Daniels. Though I'm not about to rule out the Heisman winner here with or without Bill Belichick's return. Obviously, in this mock draft, Caleb Williams and Drake May went 1 and 2. But I will say this. I agree with Baumgardner and The Athletic. If it is between Jayden Daniels or Marvin Harrison Jr. with that 3rd overall selection, I am not hesitating here. I'm selecting the Ohio State wide receiver. We'll dive into it more in just a second, but he is the best wide receiver draft prospect to come into the draft since Julio Jones about 15 years ago. Before we move on, it is getting cold in Foxborough, New England. If you're in the Northeast, you're going to need to get some new hats. So we're going to hook you up here. Chatsports.com/PatsHats. You can get a little beanie to keep that head warm, get the ears covered up. But you can also go curved brim with the throwback logo, a flat brim, Patriots AFC. They got them all at chatsports.com/PatsHats. That link will be in the comments and description of today's video. Get yourself a nice Patriots hat and ring in the new year the right way with some good Patriots gear. All right, let's shift back to Marvin Harrison Jr. because what he's done over the past 2 seasons for Ohio State has just been nothing short of terrific. With a C.J. Stroud in 2022, he came onto the scene with 1,200 yards, 14 touchdowns, but in a year where the quarterback play severely dropped off with Kyle McCord, the numbers for MHJ did not. Still putting up 1,200 yards, still putting up 14 touchdowns. And the thing that impressed me the most from Marvin Harrison Jr. this year, we know he's a technician, an elite route runner that can work in the 10 to 15 intermediate route tree. But he expanded it, becoming more of a deep threat, averaging 18 yards per reception this year with a long of 75. Harrison Jr. continues to showcase an ability to come into an offense and be a wide receiver one from day one, even as a rookie. And that is something that New England desperately needs. Just looking at the top 4 wide receivers in 2023 for the Patriots, we're removing the tight ends and running backs because Ramondre, Zeke, Gesicki, and Hunter Henry did have a large hand in the Patriots passing game. But when you look just at the wide receivers, the best wide receiver this year was rookie 6th rounder out of Liberty, Demario Douglas. He had 49 receptions, 561 yards. Kendrick Bourne only played in 8 games with that knee injury. He was on pace to be the Patriots wide receiver 1. He looked good in that time. I'd welcome him back as he is a free agent this offseason, but it's still concerning that Kendrick Bourne was forced to be your wide receiver 1. And then the 2 guys that are making a lot of money in Juju Smith-Schuster, who was paid this offseason on a 3-year deal, and Devontae Parker, who just got an extension. They underwhelmed more than you can even imagine. Didn't even eclipse 400 yards. Devontae Parker, 33 receptions, no touchdowns. He's a big body receiver that was supposed to be a red zone threat, not able to do so. And Juju Smith-Schuster, who's supposed to be a guy in a Bill O'Brien slot system to get a lot of receptions, a lot of yards after catch. 29 receptions, 260 yards. That is embarrassing. And you can blame the quarterback. You can blame Mac Jones. You can blame Bailey Zappi. But the fact of the matter is, those numbers you just saw on screen from the wide receivers are flat out unacceptable. They were the worst wide receiver group in all of football this season. And that has to change. And that brings me back to Marvin Harrison Jr. He would completely flip this Patriots wide receiver room. He would elevate that talent. And even if you don't make a major move at wide receiver, but just took MHJ, and your core next year is Demario Douglas as your wide receiver 3 in the slot, and then you also have Kendrick Bourne on the boundary with Marvin Harrison Jr., that is still a wide receiver core that I think maybe not is top 15, but it's going to be much better than what it was this year at 32. So at this point in time, I am only taking Caleb Williams or Drake May over Marvin Harrison Jr. If those two are gone when you're picking at number 3, you take MHJ and run to the draft counter. I just don't really see any of those other quarterbacks elevating the talent like May or Caleb Williams could. That's why I'm taking MHJ. But maybe you disagree with me. Maybe you want to tell me that I'm wrong and stupid. Well, you can right now. Pick a prospect for me. MHJ for Marvin Harrison Jr. or JD for Jayden Daniels. Which player would you like to see the New England Patriots draft in April with that 3rd overall pick? Let's round out today's show on a higher note because our guy Matthew Judon, who missed the majority of this year with that bicep injury, tweeted out today that he needs the list of the top 50 free agents for this year. GM Judon reporting for duty. It's good to see GM Judon is back, and we know he takes to the Twitter streets often to try to recruit players down to Foxborough. We see Cordero Patterson do that for Atlanta. I'll say this, Judon's recruiting, well, it hasn't really worked so far, but maybe he can do better than what Bill Belichick has done, at least when it comes to recruiting offensive talent. But on a serious note, to actually round out today's video, Christian Gonzalez, the rookie first-round pick last year, who was looking like the rookie of the year defensively before he got hurt in Week 4 against the Cowboys, he is going to return to this defense. Matthew Judon is going to return to this defense in 2024. I could not be more excited. Already a top 10 defense this year. You get Judon back, you get Gonzalez back. Just start upgrading that offense. Get an average offense to pair up with that defense, and you will be competitive and fighting for a playoff spot next year. I can guarantee that. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel because it's going to be a tumultuous offseason in Foxborough with the Belichick stuff continuing. Maybe Vrabel, the draft rumors, the free agency rumors as New England is top 5 in cap space, which could go up when they cut J.C. Jackson, which they will do, by the way. So hit that sub button. Lock us in here at Patriots Today, whether it be myself, Nic Rohloff, or Harrison Graham. We'll have you covered on the latest Patriots news and rumors.